Good morning. So we have a very packed agenda today. So first we're going to discuss Ukraine. We had a very good plan to discuss very specifically what more can we do with the shadow fleet, because it really has an effect on Russia's revenues to finance this war. But of course now we are going to discuss also the recent news. What we as Europeans have always supported is a long-lasting and just peace, and we welcome any efforts to achieve that. Of course, for any plan to work, it needs Ukrainians and Europeans on board. So this is very clear. Also, we have to understand that in this war there is one aggressor and one victim, so we haven't heard of any concessions on the Russian side. If Russia really wanted peace, it could have agreed to unconditional ceasefire already some time ago, whereas we see again over this night bombings of civilians. 93% of Russian targets have been civilian infrastructure, schools, hospitals, apartment buildings, to really kill a lot of people and cause as much suffering as possible. So this is our standing. Now we also discuss Middle East. Of course, now we have the United Nations resolution in place, and we are discussing how to also change the mandate of our two missions, the EUBAM Rafah border crossing mission, as well as the EUPOL COPS, which is training Palestinian police, which is also part of that broader peace plan. Then we have a comprehensive discussion on Sahel planned. We have a new strategy in place, and we need a mandate to continue with that, how we engage with the countries in Sahel. And finally, we also have a discussion on Sudan. As you know, we are also putting sanctions on Sudanese now, the first time, to really put the pressure on those who are, committing the atrocities in Sudan. So we also discuss what more can we do. For lunch, we have the ASEAN ministers, so we can also discuss with them the common security challenges that we have in the world, and then in the evening we also have the Indo-Pacific ministers here, and we will have the Indo-Pacific ministerial tomorrow, so we can talk about that then.
Minister, could you just clarify for us, have European officials in any way been part of the drafting of the peace plan you just mentioned between the US and Russia?
Not that I know of.
Madam Kallas, what about sanctions on police forces that are going to be trained? Can you be a bit more concrete? Where is it going to happen? Who's going to be involved?
We already have the EUPOL COPS mission that is helping, with the Palestinian Authority. So, of course, we have also today the Palestinian donor group meeting, which is the discussions with the Palestinian Authority about their reforms as well, which are needed. But coming to your question, then the plan is to train 3,000 Palestinian policemen, to cover the border and really have what police does, in a country. As we are supporting a two-state solution, which means that there also has to be two states, which means that also Palestinians have to be the ones who are leading and owning the processes that are happening in Palestine. So we can only help them with confidence building, and we can help them with the training of the policemen. But of course it requires also additional resources from the member states as well as people to send on those missions.
In relation to Gaza, obviously it's very important to have humanitarian aid and keep the peace and so on. But some people have been asking questions, some countries in fact, and in the European Parliament, in relation to justice. So, is the EU still focused on the idea of justice for the Palestinians, for the innocent Palestinians who have died, in terms of, the Netanyahu government?
First, we have now the ceasefire, which is quite fragile, and we are focusing on, keeping the ceasefire and building on that long-lasting peace. Whereas, the United Nations Security Council resolution comes in with the longer plan, who comes in with what resources. But in the end, of course, accountability for all the crimes committed is also a part of just and lasting peace.
Do you believe that only Donald Trump can end this war?
No, in order to end this war, you need the Ukrainians and the Europeans also to agree to those plans. So, of course, Putin could end this war immediately if he just stopped bombing civilians and killing the people. But we haven't seen any concessions on the Russian side. We welcome all the meaningful efforts to end this war, but like we have said before, it has to be just and lasting. That also means that the Ukrainians but also Europeans agree to this. Okay, thank you.